Alright, well, for those of you who want to see my testimony, I'm finally recording it on video so the whole world will see. I'm uploading to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all those social networking sites. Well, for starters, I pretty much went to church my whole life. I was one of those kids that their mom put in Sunday school, and never really got into heart or anything like that. I got saved when I was like 7, but never really knew what the cross did for me, meant for me. Never really took it to heart like I really, really do now. Well, for starters, I went to Calvary Chapel, Merritt Island from when I was like 7 to about 11. I kind of stopped going to church after that. And high school of my freshman year, I think, I was viciously bullied, harassed, and stuff like that. I've been viciously bullied all of my life, and it only got worse then. I mean, I didn't know what to do. Freshman year was really bad because this one girl named Katie Cunningham, she told me that she hoped that I died and wished that that she could see me in a trash can while the birds pick up my carcass, and she would break down the door and kill and rape my mom. And it was just heartbreaking. I mean, I was just a teenager back then. I didn't really know who Jesus was, so I just started shouting verbal obscenities at her and cursing at her and just swearing, hollering at her. I mean, I never didn't really like her. Just stopped speaking to her to this day. Well, it got progressively worse after that because, like, a couple weeks later, Mom said I was a mistake and I never should have been born. The condom had broken. Yes, I started talking to this girl named Rachel, and I thought she was my friend, and turns out she never really liked me. Never really had much friends growing up. I was always a loner. I was always hated by pretty much everybody. Never loved. Didn't have a prominent father figure in my life. Yeah, I mean, I just never really branched out. Sophomore year, something really horrible happened. It was like, I don't remember the exact date. I know it was a Tuesday though, but all this stuff is culminating in me. I sent this girl this suicide note. I was gonna kill myself. I even had it planned out, and then I guess something stopped me, and then in like sophomore year was when things. I had something really, really, really horrible happen to me that I'll never ever forget. Well, I was sitting in my bed like I am now, and I was just minding my own business, and my mom was outside talking to the neighbors, and yeah, all of a sudden I felt this weird sensation like rush over my body. I couldn't move at all. I didn't know what to make of it. It felt like an evil presence was in the room, and I just couldn't explain it at all. The only thing I knew to do was, because I remembered this from Sunday school at Calvary Chapel, Merritt Island, was to pray, and I had never known what that was. I just remembered that was the first thing to do because, mind you, when I was 14, I kind of forgot about the whole God thing, and I considered myself back then, not now, to be atheist. So I really didn't really know what all the stuff was. But I remembered it, so I did it, and eventually it went away. And me being all frantic, I texted the first person I could, which was my cousin. I told him that I had this horrific experience, and I felt like I was, I felt like I was paralyzed from the waist down, and I felt like I couldn't move at all. I didn't know what to make of it, didn't know what to think of it, and then about 2-3 weeks later, my mom says, "Okay, you're going to church. We're going to Calvary Chapel Via." Mind you, my mom was an atheist, so this came as a complete shock to me. Yeah, so we went to Calvary Chapel Via, and when we got there, we got into this huge fight because I was like, "No, I'm not going in there. I'm not going in there. I don't." And I was like, "I don't want anything to do with church or anything like that." And she was like, she started yelling at me. She was like, you get your behind in there, or else we're gonna have problems. You're gonna walk home. I'm not taking you home if you don't get in there." So I begrudgingly, I went in there. Didn't again. I had no friends, so I didn't know anybody. So I was walking up there. I was really nervous. Very nervous, actually. I didn't really know anybody. It's my being. Like, I wasn't, back then I wasn't the type to socialize. So I went up there, and I just sat next to the first people I saw, which was Andy Murray, which was Andy, Jordan, Kayla, and Rachel. And I mean, they turned out to be the best people ever, because Andy, Jordan, and Rachel are very much friends still. And I mean, I've never felt accepted before at all. And Kevin was like, made me feel like I was accepted there, and it was just the most amazing feeling I've ever experienced, because I've never ever been loved or accepted before until I came there. And I mean, it was just amazing. I came back week after week after week, hearing the gospel and stuff like that, and finally, it got to about, I think it was April. No, it wasn't April. It was February. Kevin started talking about ATF, and that's when I was like, "Oh, how much does this cost?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, it costs $150. It's 1,000 plus, 5,000 plus students and stuff like that." And I was like, "Okay, okay, how do I sign up?" And he was like, "Oh, talk to me." And mind you, I've been going here now since December. So, yeah, well, he was like, "Just talk to me and get with your mom and stuff like that." And so we did, and he goes, "You'll never believe this. There's one spot left, and you got a sponsor." And I couldn't have been more excited in my life. I was going to this thing, and I mean, at that point, I felt like God softened my heart up to the point where I didn't hate him anymore. And I mean, I guess he kind of changed my view about things, like about evolution and stuff like that. So April 19th comes. I go to ATF, and I don't know what to expect of it. All I know is it's a concert with a lot of kids in it, and it's religious. So I go to this concert, and it's amazing. The first night, we start singing, and I mean, I just started praising and worshiping and stuff like that. And we had an amazing experience the first night. Second night comes, I felt like the love of God just washed over me, and I felt something that I felt God's presence in that building, because I just got on my knees and I cried, and I cried out to God. I called out to him, and he sent us, and I called out for a sign that to know he exists. And I mean, my life was completely changed. I was in tears. The guy asked if you wanted to go down to the altar call, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'll go." and I went down there. And in that moment, I surrendered my whole heart to God. And I got saved in that moment and all that stuff. Before, he said just purge your whole house completely, all your sinful stuff, all your bad CDs, just get rid of it all. And I was like, I'll do whatever you want. So I got rid of my Slipknot CD. I got rid of all my trashy posters. I cleaned the house. And I was like, I felt like God just changed me in that instant. And then I was changed forever. I mean, at that point I was a child of God. And yeah, so after that, life was great, man. I mean, I kept going to youth and stuff like that, and this is April of 2001. This is like June of 2011, and I went on the fishing trip in the summer, and that's when I met Marta. On the fishing trip in June, and that's when I met Marta and Kevin, because Kevin wasn't there, and so yeah, that's when I met her, and I was like, and she was pretty cool. She still is, but yeah, I mean, I love church, and then after that, like, what was it? After that, I'm trying to think. What? Oh yeah, that's right. July was summer, and we were doing this youth thing in summer, and fast forward to December. December was the winter retreat, 2011. That's when we were all doing. That's when we went to South Carolina, and stuff like that. I, at that point, I met Jacob, for the first time, in December, and I went on the retreat with Kirsty and Rachel and Andy and Kayla. And that was an amazing experience too. That was another life changing experience. I'll really never forget at all. That's when I met Jacob, and then started talking to Jacob, started to become friends with him, and yeah, we started to become good friends, and then after that, fast forward to 2012, I brought Jacob to church, and then I brought Jacob to church, and then Jacob brought Bobby to church. I brought Jacob and Bobby to church, and then Jacob brought Bailey and Jeremiah to church also. Which was amazing, because this is pretty much like the power of God at work in my life, in Jacob's life, and so pretty much I helped bring a lot of people to this youth group, and in August we moved into a new room. Yeah, so we kind of moved out of the old room into a new one in room 208. And fast forward to this year. No, it was in November. We went on the fall retreat, and I wasn't really depressed, but like I got sick, and that's when Jacob and Amber met, stuff like that. Yeah, it's a long story. Yeah, that's when Jacob and Amber met, and fast forward to January of No, fast forward to April of this year, me and Bobby went on the winter retreat. Me and Bobby went on the trip on ATF for the last time, and this time Bobby had a life-changing experience. He gave his life to the Lord after about a year or so of me praying and praying and praying and praying and praying for him. He finally relented and gave his heart to God, and he couldn't even move. He felt like God touched his soul and just completely moved it, and he changed in that instant. And I feel like God's been doing great things in my life so far. Been molding me and shaping me into a better man every day, and I'm currently at this moment. Tomorrow I'm going to MEPS to go to the military processing. Done with my physical. I'm going in the Navy. Hopefully that God's going to take me places there and do great things for His kingdom. And I just feel like it's a stark contrast from where I am now to where I am at the beginning of my high school career, which is now finished. But now, compared to then, I'm very different. I'm completely changed by God, by Jesus, and the Holy Spirit completely revolutionized me, changed me, transformed me. And for those who are without hope, they're down, depressed, whatever, I pray that this gives you hope, that you see this, and you see a kid who didn't have a father, who had a deadbeat dad actually, and I pray that this gives you hope. That you find solace and comfort in God. That He is your provider, like He's my provider, and He's your comfort, refuge in the storms of life that may happen. And one more thing to add, I started the Thirsty program to help me increase my walk with God. And I feel like God's been doing amazing things with that also. And it's just amazing what God's been doing in my life so far. And the people He's led me to, brought me to, help me lead to the Lord, like Bobby and Jacob and Bailey and Jeremiah. They all got led to the Lord. So yeah, this is my testimony, and I'm wrapping this up. Goodbye.